Talk Norwich City, Chris Reeve. Chris, how you doing?
All right, not so bad. The first half was very, very, very challenging for me. For everyone, most probably. We were diabolical all over the park again. It was Watford all over again. However, huge credit to Declan Rudd, because if that second goal's in on the 20-minute mark, we lose the game.
Oh, yeah.
He's kept us in it today, and I'd go as far as saying that was the best individual performance for a Norwich City player all season, because his saves kept us in the game, but also as well it gave us the confidence to go on and get a goal. I know it was a bit of a lucky goal. I thought today we were disappointing at the back again. Bringing Ryan Bennett into the team is such an asset, not only defensively but offensively too, because at corners you saw today the actual goal was created by Ryan Bennett header. That's why he needs to play. The problem is, when you don't start Ryan Bennett and you start Russ instead, you then go back to square one with Ryan Bennett, because he needs a good run of games to pick up his pace and get into it and get a good feel for his defence around him. And I think that is a bit of a problem, Jack. I have to say, I think that by Alex Neil not keeping it consistent, that could cause some issues, especially when you're going into games like Manchester United and Tottenham. It's very, very important that from now until January we keep a consistent team, because in January, let's view it as mulled wine, Christmas mulled wine. When you're mixing it up with all these players, that's fine, but in January it should be just the salt and pepper on top. That's all it needs. But with Norwich City at the moment, that is not the case. It's really not the case, and it's really frustrating seeing these really bad first halves over and over again, because the defence is being mixed up. Declan Rudd wholeheartedly deserves his start, and he should stay in the team from now until the rest of the season. Definitely, he's ready. He could easily be as good, if not better, than Jack Butland.
Yeah, I agree as well. I'm going to come back to that point about the Alex Neil switching it up, though. He needed to switch up from last week. He couldn't leave the same team. Would you have been happy to see Graben start today? No,
most definitely not. I thought the defence shouldn't change. You can't just keep moving. The best, if you look at all of the top European teams, Barcelona, Real Madrid, even some of the lower ones that are, in the kind of, the Champions League spots in all of the leagues, they keep their defence consistent. If one person has a bad game, you don't just get rid of them. You give them a chance to progress and move on. You can't just keep chopping and changing it. But let's stop moaning now. We did get a point out today, and before the game I told you, Jack, that in the form that Everton are in, to take a point from today is massive. You look at Lukaku and Delafeu and Ross Barkley and John Stones, all of those players are top quality players, and we did really, really well to get the point.
Yeah, I mean, that Everton team turned over Aston Villa 4-0 a couple of weeks ago. We could have quite easily been 4-0 down in that first half, but do you think it's a positive to see that Norwich City have a certain fight, a certain determination to just stay in games?
I think today we showed probably the best character all season, because when you go in at half-time to boos from the Norwich City faithful, that is so demoralising and psychologically will get to you. Now, whatever Alex Neil did or said in that change room at half-time,
or through,
I want to know, because honestly, the difference between the first half today and the second half was like leagues apart, absolutely leagues apart. It looked like a really bad cup game where Norwich were maybe up against a really big team, but we came out second half and we showed our quality.
Brilliant, weren't we? Yeah, I mean, Tottenham and United up next. Would you keep the same team? Would you play the same system?
Yeah, definitely. Got to keep the same team. It's so important that we keep the same team. If we keep changing it every week, players won't develop and get used to each other, and it's all about where do I pass it best, and whose foot is weak, and that kind of thing. It's all of these long balls and stuff that happens when it's inconsistent. What we want to be doing is using the field. When you're playing players like Wes Houlihan and Gary O'Neill, you've got to feed the ball into them. If you're playing in the defence to the forward line just booting it up, it just doesn't do anything. It's not the Norwich way. The Norwich style of play is not booting the ball.
So you think consistency is what we need?
Consistency is what we need until January. And then,
which isn't far away.
No, thank God, because we need January. It kind of sounds bad, but I wish we could fast forward to it now, because we need to sign a quality centre back first and foremost, and secondly as well a good striker as well. It's difficult. I mean, today, if I was to drop anyone in the defence, I probably would have dropped Basong, because against Watford he was really, really bad. So for Ryan Bennett to be dropped, I thought was incredibly harsh, and he's a top up and coming player.
Chris, thanks very much, mate.
Cheers, James.